Hello guys, today we are going to be doing this logo animation thing. I like what you see. Let's get to it. So under effects, go to effects, then pull down a fusion comp to the timeline. Right click on it, click on change clip duration. Let's change the clip duration to 10 seconds. Click on change, move the playhead to the fusion comp. Then let's go to the fusion page. Let's move media out of the way, pull in a background node. Let's change the color, click on the color, let's change the color to CC. Okay, drag that to the viewer. Put in a rectangle mask node, connect that to the background node. And let's increase the width of the background node to 1 and the height to 1. Great. Now let's go to frame 20, keyframe center, set Y to -0.5. So you see that down there, we want to move it up. So we move on to frame 140 and set the Y value to 1.5. So you see it up there. If we play that through now, you'll see what we've done. It just moves from down there through the frame up there. So let's click on it, open the spline editor, click on displacement, click on zoom to fit, click on that button to select all the keyframes, then press F on the keyboard to flatten the keyframes. Then close the spline editor. Let's play and see what we've done. There's something smooth like that. Great. Let's stop that. Now let's bring in a shape 3D node. Press Shift spacebar, type shape, then click on shape 3D, add it. Connect the background to the green input of shape 3D, drag shape 3D to the viewer. I think it's showing. We need to move to the frame where so we have that. But shape 3D is currently a plane. We want to change that to sphere. So we have this, but it has jagged edges, right? So we go to base subdivisions, increase it to 100, and height subdivisions to 100, so it's smoother now. Now let's go, you see the movement. Now let's make a few adjustments. Let's move that down there. Let's go to transform. For the X rotation, set it to 90, so it's kind of vertical. So if we move it to see, it moves like that and closes like that, which is fine. If we turn the view to the frontal view, you see it's moving like that and covering like that. Then we go to controls, we go to visibility, and then we click on call the back. So we don't want the back to show, so it's just the front that comes through and goes off. Now I could have used a duplicates 3D to create 6 duplicates of the sphere, but it creates an artifact. So I'm going to have to do this manually by creating 6 copies of this by paste, copy and paste. And click on shape 3D, go to transform and add 60 to the 90 degrees. It becomes 150. Sorry, 150. Then the scale, I drop it by 0.02, it becomes 0.98. Then I copy this. I paste. Click on shape 3D, go to the transform tab, set the angle at 62, it becomes 210. Then drop this by 0.02, it becomes 0.96. Copy this again. So we keep doing that until we get 6 copies. We keep adding 60 degrees and dropping it by 0.02 on the scale. So click on shape 3D, transform, this will become 270, and then the scale will become 0.94. Copy that, paste, click on shape 3D, go to transform, add 60 to that, it becomes 310. Then we go to 330, sorry. Then we set the scale to 0.92. Then copy, paste, click on shape 3D, transform tab, and then set that to 390, and then the scale to 0.9. Then we bring in the merge 3D node, to which we connect all the shape 3Ds. Like that. Let's drag that to the viewer. So we have that to play that. You see, we have the makings of what we want already. Fantastic. Now, one other thing is the shine on the shape 3D is too much. So I'm going to click on shape 3D. Yes. Then we go to material. Under specular, I'm going to drop the intensity to 0.12 and do that across all the shape 3Ds. I'm going to speed this part up a bit. Material, specular 0.12, material, specular 0.12, material, specular 0.12, and then material, specular 0.12. We group all of these so we don't have too many nodes. Group it, then right click on the group and rename it to spheres. Now we bring in a merge node. Connect the spheres to the merge node. Let's bring in two spotlights. We won't connect it just yet. Let's bring in a renderer node. Connect merge 3D to the renderer node, drag the renderer node to the viewer. We see it's just white, so we go to renderer node and enable lighting. It's all dark because there's no light connected. We want to do the shadows. Connect the first spotlight, merge 3D, drag merge 3D to the viewer. And then we see the light is facing the other direction. We want the light to face the aperture opening direction of the sphere, right? So first things, we drag this light out of the sphere. So we go to transform for the light and spin the Y by 90 degrees, Y axis by 90 degrees. Then we go to controls for the light, increase the cone angle to 90. Then we click, let's expand our view, move it, then drag that back a bit so it covers the whole sphere. Let's move it to the right a little bit. Then you can click on that, then click on the green circle and turn it so it's facing the sphere. Then we connect the next spotlight to that. It's in the sphere, so we drag it out of the sphere, move it a little further back than the other spotlight. Go to transform, spin it around the y-axis by 90 degrees. Drag it to the left a little bit. Let's drag it back just a little bit more. Go to controls, increase the cone angle to 90 and set the decay type to linear. Let's set the same thing for the first spotlight to linear. Then we go back to the second spotlight. Then we go to that, click on that, then we turn it towards the sphere. So it's facing the sphere too, right? Now, let's see what the renderer is showing. The renderer is showing a dark part of the sphere. Let's bring in an ambient light node. Shoot spacebar, ambient light, connect that to merge 3D. Increase the intensity to about 0.4. I think that's fine. I don't want the image to be too flat. Ambient light test to make it flat. You see that the view that the renderer is giving us is not the side view that we wanted. So we're going to bring in a camera node, camera 3D node. Connect that to merge 3D. Drag merge 3D to the viewer. You see the camera is inside the sphere, right? We need to pull it towards where the lights are. So I'm going to click on there, drag it out to where the lights are. I need to spin it around the y-axis by 90 degrees too. So I press 90, it's facing the sphere. So good. Now let's pull it back a little bit more. Let's pull it back just a little bit more to make sure it's covering all the spheres. Let's drag renderer 3D to the viewer so we see exactly where it covers. We need to pull it back just a little bit more because I can see the edges of the sphere. Yeah, like that. We may need to put it back just a little bit more. 5, no, let's try 6. 6 is just fine. Great. Let's play and see what we've done here. And let's go to renderer 3D. It's a bit slow. Let's change it to OpenGL renderer. Let's play it back again. And it's rendering faster. And then it opens up. Now we need to drop. I think it's too flat. Let's drop the light intensity just a little bit. Just a little bit for the first spotlight. Let's put it back just a little bit more. That's fine. These are just minor adjustments. Doesn't necessarily affect the whole animation itself. Okay, fine. We're done with that. So the next thing we need to do is we want to give it a background. But before we do that, what we're going to do, we need to animate the camera. I want the camera to be zoomed in, then move out, right? So I'm going to go to the point where the circles converge and completely close the hole in the middle. That's around frame 60. So I'm going to note that is frame 60. That's the point where I want the whole thing to fill the screen, right? So I'm going to go to the point where it completely opens up. That should be around frame 140. Let's just place it at frame 140. Then we keyframe that point. And then we go to frame 60 and reduce the X value of the camera so it zooms in into the sphere. I want the sphere to fill the whole frame, something around there. So that's around 2.886. Then I go to spline editor. I go to zoom to fit. I click on that to select all the keyframes and I click on that button to smoothen it out. Close the spline editor. We can play it and see what we've done. And there you go. Great. So we're done with this part of the animation. The next thing we need to do, we need to give it a background. Drag a background node. For this background node, we set it to 4 corner. The first color, we give it a value of 8C, 8C. The next color, we give it a value of 65, 65, 65. The third color, we give it a value of 6C, 6C, 6C. And let's leave this black color for now. Let's leave it for now. And let's bring in a merge node. Let's bring in another background node. Now for this background node, we're going to drop the alpha to 0 and connect that to the background input of merge 1. Connect background 2 to the foreground of merge 1. So I want this merge 1 to, let's set it to dual view. Let's drag merge 1 to the left viewer, keyframe this point, then move forward 1 frame and keyframe it and drag the blend to 1. So that way the blend moves from 0 to 1 between frame 60 and 61. Now let's change the color of that black to 90, 90, 90. It looks too weird the way it is right now. So good. Now we need to now connect this to the renderer 3D. Let's move that closer. Let's bring in a merge node. Connect renderer 3D to the foreground of merge 2. And It looks like I accidentally connected Render 3D to the background there, so we need to swap the inputs there. Right click on Merge to and click on Swap Inputs. Now it's correctly connected. We drag Merge to the right viewer. Let's drag it to that and play it. You see that it's transparent at this point, but when the circle covers the full screen, this merge changes to the backgrounds I just created, and by the time the spheres now start moving backwards, you see there's a background now. That's the idea for that merge node I just created, right? So it opens up. Now we need to create a logo that will now show when it opens up. Let's move this down a bit. Let's bring in a logo. I think I have Davinci Resolve logo here. Let's click on Media Pool, click on Search, type logo. Let's drag that to the node grid. Let's bring in an ellipse node. Let's drag this media in one to the left where you see it has this white background thing. So we connect the ellipse to it and drag the edge of the ellipse so it just covers around about the edges of the logo. It masks that out. Let's move it back. Let's put a transform node and connect it to a transform node. Now we need to connect this to another merge node, and that merge node needs to sit on top of this other merge node that connects to background. So we move those down, bring in the merge node and move it so that at that point, connect it there and connect this transform one to the foreground of that merge node. Now this transform, I want it such that when the sphere covers the screen at this point, not at frame 60 exactly, the point where we start seeing the definition of the circles round, I want the logo to be almost as big as that circle. So I go to transform and increase the size of the logo to just about the size of that sphere, right? And I keyframe it. Let's just set it to frame 80 and keyframe it. Then we move to, let's say, frame 180. And let's go to frame 180. And then we drop the size to something like that. So 1.67. Go to transform one, open the spline editor, click zoom to fit. Click on that to select all the keyframes. Drag that handle down a bit, then drag this other handle like that. Then close the spline editor. We're practically done with this animation, save for one more thing. Now for this merge node, I don't want this logo to show all through this animation. I want it to show at the point where the sphere covers the full screen. That's around frame 60. So I go there. I go to frame 60. I set the blend, I keyframe it, I set the blend to 0. I move one frame forward and I set the blend to 1. And we are practically done with this animation. Let's arrange the nodes, connect merge to media out, and let's drag media out to the viewer. Let's close the media pool tab and make some space, fit to screen, and let's play this out. Now to use this now let's stop this animation. Let's go to the edit page. Let's move this vision comp up. Now let's pull in a footage from the media pool. Anything I have here, I'm just going to put it under there. Let me duplicate it by holding down Alt and dragging it. Yeah. Now let's play this. Let me replay that. I was dragging the viewer there. So we see, that's it. And we have this. It's full screen, and we have that. Thanks guys for joining me on this one, and hope you enjoyed it. Have a nice one, and see you on the next one. Cheers.